Good afternoon, everyone. The informal meeting of the Richmond City Council will now come to order. Madam Clerk, if you would provide the Chamber Emergency Evacuation announcement.
Upon activation of the emergency alarm signal, all persons should immediately exit the building. Please use the exits to the left or right front of the council chamber or the east or west stairwell outside the rear doors of the chamber. Do not use elevators or escalators. After exiting the building, proceed down 9th Street and enter the assembly area located in the former public safety building parking lot. Able persons should assist visually and hearing impaired visitors with exiting the building. And Madam President, for the record, all members are in attendance this evening with the exception of Councilor Lynch. You do have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's proceed with the docket with you.
Starting with the consent agenda, item number 1, ordinance 2024-312, Planning Commission recommended a continuance, so this item is to be continued to the May 12th council meeting. Item 2, ordinance 2025-025, Planning Commission also recommended a continuance. However, this paper is to be continued to the April 28th council meeting. Items 3 and 4, ordinance 2025-044 and 045, Planning Commission recommended approval. However, there is a request that both papers be referred back to the Planning Commission meeting on May 7th and continue to the May 12th council meeting.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I don't see any disagreement with that.
So if that's the consensus of council, items 3 and 4 ought to be continued to the May 12th council meeting and referred back to the May 7th Planning Commission meeting. Item 5, ordinance 2025-046, Planning Commission recommended a continuance, so this item is to be continued to April 28th. Item 6, ordinance 2025-047, Planning Commission recommended approval. Item 7, ordinance 2025-048, Planning Commission recommended a continuance, so this item is to be continued to the April 28th council meeting. Items 8 and 9, ordinance 2025-049 and 050, Planning Commission recommended approval. Item 10, ordinance 2025-051, Organizational Development Standing Committee recommended approval. And on the regular agenda, there are no regular agenda items. However, items 11 through 17 are budget-related papers, and after tonight's budget public hearing, all papers will be continued to the Monday, April 28th council meeting. And Madam President, though that concludes the docket.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I don't believe we have any referral of service delivery issues for discussion today, so we will proceed with our annual update. Richmond Region Tourism, Ms. Danielle Fitzhugh, Vice President. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Madam President, members of Council, Catherine O'Donnell, President and CEO of Richmond Region Tourism. I'm joined by Danielle, who will join me in a moment. But I'll start us off once we get it pulled up. Great. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be with you all again for our annual tourism update, where we share the good news of regional tourism in the Richmond region. And I'm with Richmond Region Tourism. As I mentioned, we promote the Richmond region to visitors, attracting meetings, conventions, tournaments, and leisure travelers who spend their money in our community, supporting small businesses and attractions in the places that make living in the Richmond region wonderful. When we talk about the Richmond region, you can see our footprint here. We have 7 localities that we represent. We've been doing this for more than 40 years. We really take a regional approach to tourism because the visitor does not understand county lines or city lines. So if a family comes to the Richmond region, they fly into the airport, they play on sports fields in Chesterfield County, they go to Kings Dominion, they shop in Carytown and go to a winery and go. We know at that time they've gone to 6 of our 7 localities, and they go home and they have friends ask them where they went, and they said, Richmond. So that's the reason we do this together, and it's been successful for more than 40 years. The good news is that we are continuing to break records in the total number of visitation, and we're seeing increase in overnight trips. We like to see that because more people are staying longer, spending money in our businesses. When we look at our visitor spending from 2023, we'll get our 2024 numbers in the fall. We can see in the city of Richmond, $908 million spent by visitors, generating $176.4 million in local taxes, supporting over 8,000 jobs. Tourism is a big business in our region. One of the ways we measure our success is through hotel occupancy and tax collections. It's not our only measurement, but it's a good way to see if people are coming from out of town and staying here. And you can see the trend in the upward trajectory. In last fiscal year, we reached over $39 million in total tax revenue in our region. One thing to note is that, of course, we're well recovered from COVID and beyond from before, and it's really was such a short dip compared to previous recessions. So that's a good thing about our industry recovering quickly from the COVID downturn. The reason that our region is so successful is that we have a diverse tourism ecosystem, meaning we don't have all of our eggs in one basket. We have 4 strong sectors. The number one is family and friends. It's the number one reason people come to the Richmond region, well above the national average, which means it's important for our citizens to be engaged in what there is to see and do here. It's probably true for every community except for maybe Orlando and Las Vegas. But again, in the Richmond region, we outperform, knowing that our citizens are welcoming the people that they care about to visit. We also have the largest convention center in the state here just a few blocks away in downtown Richmond. So we have meetings and conventions and sports tournaments happening there and around the region. Of course, business travel is strong as we are home to many corporate powerhouses in our region, and then just general leisure travel. People coming here for vacation. Our central location on the East Coast makes us easy to get to, and then we do really well with long weekends for leisure travel. When we look at our demographics, probably since the history of time, our largest feeder market has been DC and Northern Virginia. We're certainly watching that closely in light of the economic landscape now, but we continue to have them as number one, followed by some regional destinations in the state and North Carolina and New York. We are a year-round destination, meaning that we are almost equally spread out through the year in terms of visitation, which gives us a good, healthy tourism economy. One of the things that we're charged with at Richmond Region Tourism is keeping the Richmond region on the consideration set for travelers. We do that in a number of ways, one of which is working with travel media and bringing them here to show off the great things that we have in our region. Here's a couple samples of articles that mention Richmond on MSN and Thrillist. Last year, 172 articles featuring the Richmond region and Richmond in particular. We also do a lot of social media work to, again, keep the Richmond region top of mind. Here's just a couple examples of some of our viral posts. One about Black-owned restaurants, which got over 330,000 views and 27,000 interactions. Again, these are real numbers, real people looking at the Richmond region and being inspired to travel here. Similarly, 5 hidden gem gardens with over 127,000 views. One of our largest market segments outside of leisure travel is sports tourism. You can see in that pie chart, sports makes up 71% of the business that we're recruiting to the region. In the city of Richmond, the biggest sports tourism facility is, again, the convention center. We have everything from field hockey to volleyball to fencing to cheer and dance, all happening in a matter of number of blocks from here, with families staying in hotels all around downtown and around the region. We also obviously have a lot of meetings and conventions that take place in the convention center. There's a sampling here for you to take a look at some highlights from the last couple of years. GalaxyCon just took place last month, and it remains the largest event ever to take place in the convention center, with upwards of 40,000 people going through the building that week. We've had the National Council on Ceramics, lots of different opportunities to meet inside the building. Coming up in the convention center, this is like some examples of some sports I was mentioning. USA Karate as well as BMX have also taken place in the city of Richmond. We also hosted USA Boxing last December in the Convention Center, where children as young as 6 and then people as old as in their 80s are boxing in December, which we love because December can often be a quiet time for tourism. Looking into the future in the city of Richmond, we've got a few things we're excited about in terms of events that we've helped recruit. One is USA Taekwondo that will be coming next month at the Convention Center with over 1,000 participants. We also partnered with the Flying Squirrels to recruit the Firefighters, which is a division of the Savannah Bananas. They'll be coming to the Diamond in June. And this will be a great sort of runway. We hope to bring the Savannah Bananas to Carmax Park when it opens up in 2026. We also partnered with Henrico County to recruit the Next Pro Sports basketball tournaments in July, which is another quiet time for us where we like to bring in people from out of town, and they'll be competing at the Convention Center and at the Henrico Sports and Events Center during the week, which is very exciting. So when we think about tourism for the future, we have a tourism master plan that was informed by our community and stakeholders. Hard to believe, we're halfway through, we're in 2025, we have 5 more years to go in the plan. But the idea is to responsibly grow our tourism and benefit all in our community. And there's a couple priorities that we've been focusing on for a while now in the plan to try to make happen. A headquarter hotel downtown, a regional inspiration campaign, sustainable investment, and workforce development. Hopefully you are all very familiar with City Center and the efforts to try to recruit a headquarter hotel adjacent to the Convention Center. We've needed that since the Convention Center opened more than 20 years ago. You can see our competition here. In the last 5 years, we've lost more than $250 million in economic impact from conventions that were considering us and working with our team that ended up saying no because we did not have the hotel. The inspiration campaign is something that we will send a link to you all to watch the video later. This came out of the American Rescue Plan money, which enabled us to have more resources to advertise the Richmond region in a way we couldn't previously, and it was so effective that we continued it on after those funds were depleted. It's using ASMR technology, so if you're not familiar with that, maybe ask your kid, but it's the sound-based storytelling, and we knew that every community across America was receiving these funds, and so we wanted to stand out, and we did that by letting the Richmond region speak for itself through sound. So we will follow up with you all to have a link so you can watch that at your leisure and see why the results speak for themselves. And what we did a study of the people who saw the campaign, and there was a 50% increase in perception of the Richmond region after seeing the ad, as well as a 34% increase in likely to travel here. So that's an example of how the advertising that we're doing, the storytelling that we're doing does work. When it comes to sustainable funding, for many years, Richmond Region Tourism has been underfunded compared to its competitive set. For those of you that were around a couple of years ago, you may recall the implementation of a tourism improvement district. We're in the 2nd year now of that, which has created an additional funding source through a fee on the hotel room bill. And it enables us, this fee is put into a fund that is governed by the Committee of Hotels and executed by Richmond Region Tourism for marketing and advertising and sales to drive more hotel room nights. We've done a number of things. There's some highlights in your packets, but I just wanted to point out a few things. The main thing to remember is now with the TID funds, we're always on, meaning we're able to advertise year-round, which we could not afford before. And again, we are trying to have a good return on ad spend and hotel room night bookings. We're also working to recruit more events using these funds, so we're able to incentivize business, sports, and meetings to come to the Richmond region as a result of the TID funds, and we're able to go to more trade shows. This is a picture of one of our booths at one of the shows, and meet with these event organizers to recruit them to the Richmond region. In general, our team is always, again, trying to keep Richmond top of mind. Here's some examples of the advertising that we're running to drive people to the Richmond region. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Danielle, who's going to talk more about the workforce investment as well.
Thank you, Ms. O'Donnell. Great presentation thus far.
Good afternoon. Thank you guys for hearing us and talk about our updates for this year. I work within our workforce development and our foundation work for Richmond Region Tourism. And we're going to just talk through a little bit of the updates and success that we've had over the past year. Our workforce investment dollars, as you can see, we put money right back into our students with scholarships at both VCU and Virginia State University. We are hosting IM tourism classes around the region and supporting sports tourism grants through organizations that are bringing Remnites to the region, and also supporting our DEI efforts, celebrating this past year 5 years of Black RVA and 10 years of Out RVA work. Tourism in our community is supporting 29,000 jobs throughout the region, and those jobs have a median income of over $82,000. That's a real career, and we work within all of our CTE programs throughout the region to make sure that our young people are thinking about hospitality and tourism as a career path. IM Tourism, we are hosting over 500 community residents and attractions and museum staffs talking about the economic impact of tourism so that they can better refer their guests throughout the region so that they can go into our attractions and museums. We're also working with VCU and their new student orientation. Upwards of over 800 new students, freshmen and transfer students and their families participating in a modified IM tourism each summer. One of our signature programs is our RVA Sports Awards, which is our version of the ESPYs. It's our local impact where we're highlighting those sports advocates, coaches, volunteers, and athletes throughout the region. Community Awards on August 23rd, and we'll be back at the Hippodrome Theater. Out RVA hosted 10 years this past September, hosting an event at Altria Theater. We're again sponsoring the Virginia Pride Fest as well, and thank you for the work with the City of Richmond, continues to have a 100 MEI score.
Close and say that we at Richmond Region Tourism believe that this is the best time ever in the Richmond region. We're thrilled with the developments that are taking place across our region and in the city in particular, along the riverfront with the amphitheater and Browns Island, and the CoStar development, etc. There's Carmack Park. So many great things happening in our region, and it is our absolute honor to get come to work every day and tell the stories and represent the brand of our region to the world. And we know that doing all of that is a force for good in our community. People are spending their money here in businesses and in places that we care about and that make living in the Richmond region wonderful. And so we're honored to do that on your behalf. With that, Madam President, I'd be happy to take any questions.
So, Ms. Pickney, Mr. Dennis, make our region, as we already know, it is the best tourism, but to have others see it as that as well. Questions, Councilmember Breton.
I had 3 questions about the hotel capacity that you mentioned. So as I understand it, we're finding that we are losing opportunities for convention center events because we lack sufficient hotel capacity in the vicinity of the convention center. Is that correct?
Correct.
And so you had a slide, you briefly showed a slide with some competing cities. Could you explain what that slide tells us?
Sure, happy to do that. So part of the process part of the process when you're bidding on conventions is that you're competing with other cities. So most conventions are not just going to call us up and say, we want you. And so the competition, when you look at the slide, let me give it a minute, see if you can get to it.
Can you go backwards?
It's not letting me go back. There we go. Nope. Sorry, it's not working. There it is. Okay, so these are some of the cities that we compete against when we're bidding on conventions to recruit them to the Richmond region, because many of them have similar sized convention centers to us. However, you can see on the chart that they have a lot more hotels and hotel rooms closer in. So what you're seeing are 500 rooms, 1,000 rooms, and 1,500 rooms within a half mile of their all those other cities.
So those are the number of hotel buildings with that number of rooms inside of them? Each? I don't know. The 500,
Yeah,
the
that's
number
a
of
good question.
rooms